Melka is in the house,
Hello.
everybody.
Back with my favorite girl. How you doing?
Well, God bless you, girl. You
God
been out of
bless.
New York for a few days. Oh my God.
And of course, there was snow. You didn't know, and yes, I did. I got out of here, which was great because I'll tell you something that we don't know because we're on this, isolation, COVID, like a separation thing. But I'll tell you something. I got out late because it snowed. We had a layover in Houston, and then flew to Vegas. But
Uh-huh.
in Houston, I talked to a security person, a person while we were waiting. I talked to a bartender. Then we flew to Vegas. I talked to the Uber driver, then the bartenders and waitresses and security people and people at the casino and all this. When I tell you that America
Yep.
is awake, if we could interact this we would be in a very different place. They're keeping us from interacting with each other on purpose. I met probably 12 people who
Well,
feel exactly how we do and don't have really anyone to voice it to.
yep.
All I kept hearing was, what are they doing in our
Yep.
government? What is going on? Everyone almost states, where's the flu? Why did they lock us down over this? Why isn't there more deaths this year? Like people are starting to get it.
Yep.
And
And they are not
everyone,
you. And they are not you who is digging into all of this. They are
right.
just regular people. I mean, I love this. Exactly.
They're getting it. They're getting it. People are getting it. They are waking up. They are pissed in terms of feeling like we, the people, our country's being hijacked from us by people who do not care about us. A lot of people are seeing the globalist intentions, which is like a bigger level of like what we talk about that, maybe a lot of people weren't paying attention to until Biden,
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
got in there. But I'm telling you,
Whatever, rubber man.
right, right. So I met a lot of patriots, and let me tell you something. Most of them didn't even vote, but or were ambivalent about Trump, and now that they feel like
They are
not
like
not only did we
up
get,
to here, up to here with all of this.
oh yeah, people are awake for real, and I'm talking. I didn't stay in like a fancy place. This was not that, and it was like real Americans from all walks of life being like this COVID thing. Why is the
Especially my dear Mel, because I happen to know now I will be like, oh my God, it's all about me. No, it's not. But I happen to know Las Vegas in and out so well. I work my butt in Las Vegas, okay?
right?
So I know how this city is built. It's built on tourism. If you don't
Right.
have people
Oh my God, these
coming,
people have been decimated, decimated. They still haven't opened any clubs or nightclubs or regular bars, only at the hotels. The masking, the entertainment's all gone. Like really, though the guys told me that the real estate market's doing great because a lot of people are moving from California. Tourism has been decimated, and nearly everyone we spoke to was saying that they're sick of it. They don't. The COVID thing doesn't make sense. Why did they do this? And a lot of
no,
people are saying,
I
of
cannot
course, after
imagine.
Trump,
I cannot
yeah,
imagine. I when I work there, I work in those retail stores, like Chanel and other places.
right, right, oh,
It
right,
was
right, high
all
end
about
retail. They've been
traffic,
killed.
traffic, and like Super
I
Bowl
know.
was like the biggest thing. And I was like, how they are doing there, those people? Because we are not just talking the casinos and hotel industry. We are talking the outside of like the strip, okay?
Right. Well, they
Out,
even a guy was telling us because he drives an Uber that for like 3 months they weren't making any money, and it was like totally dead. And then it slowly came back. Slowly, it's still only I think 35% capacity, and they're completely nuts about the masks.
yeah.
They're like over the top, but that's because they're being threatened to get their casinos can't mess around. And then also, but what about the entertainment industry there? I kind of forgot that
The
it's huge
shows.
there. It's
Yeah,
just
of
like it's
course.
different than here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you forget about Broadway too, but no, that's huge.
No, it's huge. No,
Yeah,
actually,
people are pissed.
it's even like people think it's only casinos and like strippers, but it's not. Vegas
Yeah,
became like great for shopping and great for
Oh,
and to this event
yes.
and cuisine, like the best chefs from all around the world.
Right, I know. They've all been decimated, decimated. And we were talking to a guy, a bartender who has like 4 kids, and just really couldn't make ends meet, but didn't want to lose the job because, but then the Uber driver I was talking to, he said like for 3.5 months they didn't make any money, and Nevada wasn't letting them get unemployment. The
No
independent
way.
contractor. Yeah. And then finally, when they kicked in to getting unemployment, he said it wasn't enough. And, that it was really hard. And also just everyone, the devastation to the economy there has to be off the charts, like New York. I mean, really bad. Yeah.
So
But I will tell you, people are awake in the airport in Houston, the airport here, the airport in
well,
Vegas, everywhere. People are just like, they do not buy it. The animosity towards this Dr. Fauci is off the charts. And honestly, people do not understand why nobody cares about the election. The people do not get it. They don't. And these aren't just Trump people. These are just American, some not American people that are saying, why doesn't it matter? Like, what, how is this
but that
possible?
is waking them up. You see, I
I
think
know.
this is the whole part of this plan. So how was
Right.
this event, by the way? Quickly tell me, how was it? Like, how did
Well, I
you
can't
feel
tell you
after?
quickly because it changed my whole thing. Last week I had my thing. You had to give me therapy, emergency therapy. But I was really down. I was seeing our country being taken over by like just demented communist, socialist, totalitarians. And you look at the news and whatever, and I even started thinking, where are they? Enough's enough, whatever.
Mm.
And I was just really burnt out. And then I was going to fly, and then we had a snowstorm and delay. And okay, so I finally get there, and I start to see some of the people that we go on shows with, and it's weird because you're like, you never really thought you'd meet these people in person. And what I can tell you is that they're all people that are connected with me and you, basically,
Yeah.
or people that were purged a long time ago but never gave up and are elsewhere on other platforms still going. But really, I have to tell you, these are really good people. The people that Juan and Jim gathered there was purposeful, and I'll tell you why even more in a minute. But all the attacks on like Charlie and Juan, and of course, in because we're connected, me and Simon and everyone. Let me tell you something. These people are patriots. They are people who love God, love country. Their mission to save the children is massive. And I have to tell you, they are positive we will see justice. And I needed to know that. And I believe it 100% now. And so what happened was, so we went to this premiere of this movie called Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. And I knew that it was about Tim Ballard, who saved a lot of children. And I know Jim Caviezel, who I have to tell you, having been in Hollywood for 15 actors out there today working that actually do it because it was a calling and that choose their roles on the subject matter because they believe in it in their heart. This guy, and I talked to him for like 20 minutes.
Can I ask you one
He's a one of a
question?
kind.
Mel,
And
I'm so
he
sorry.
got,
Can I ask you a quick question? I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but is this
well,
is this guy Operation Underground Rescue?
yeah,
I love this
Tim Ballard.
guy.
That's who it's
Yes,
about.
because
Yes.
I used to.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
I love him, and I was. You know what? I was like, I hope this is legit because he feels so good,
Yeah.
and I used to donate 50% of my book sales to this Operation Underground Rescue.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, but
especially after I saw this.
This is the guy. Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, yes. It's amazing. And it's a true story. And, if you remember, Jim Caviezel's been through this before because of Passion of the Christ. And as we both know, Hollywood's not a big fan of anything God or religious or spiritual. And a lot of people thought he'd take a hit on his career on that. Well, the opposite happened because this guy's really led by God. And him and Mel Gibson have for the longest time, longer than anyone and more outspoken, tried to bring a light to the child trafficking issues. And Mel Gibson's life, basically, they tried to destroy his life for it. And but they kept going, and he kept going. And this guy has a gift. This is not just an actor. This man is really one of a kind. And the director's amazing. When I tell you this movie, if it wasn't for the subject matter, is, and I think the Oscars and the Golden Globes are BS, so it doesn't matter. But in being a filmmaker myself, this movie is A+ across the board.
Wow.
Cinematography, writing, casting, I mean, everything, the music, it's just, it is a masterpiece in my mind. And what I have to tell you though,
it transforms, it transforms people completely.
Every human needs to see this. And I thought a few things after, but I will tell you, the issue is, and why I believe we were there, is because they follow us too. And you know, all the abuse that Q has gotten, and all of the patriots, and you know, the conspiracy theory and whatever. Well, we wouldn't know. And I'm not talking about A-Kun, A-Chan, or whatever they're calling QAnon. I don't know what that is. I don't know what they're talking about. I know about the board and what I've learned off of it and what you've learned off of it and the research that it's led me to connect the dots and see that it's all the same people in the same funnel. But Q is where we learned about Epstein Island and child trafficking and human trafficking and the central bank and the cabal and the evergreen, and it all come back. But all of this stuff, after I watched this, I never felt so confident and sure that we are not only working for God, but on the right side of truth and justice. And we will doesn't want this movie out there. It exposes it in multiple ways, including kind of explaining to me, giving me the visual of what really happened on Epstein Island, because we both know that Netflix whitewashed that to the extreme, that it looks very, oh, they took young girls there, and that's not what happened there. Okay. And
I have an idea.
This was really,
yeah.
And this was really, and I'll tell you, they went as the way that it was shot, the director is so good, and the writers, the way it was shot, you could feel the horror and the terror in these children. The children were amazing. I will never forget the faces of these kids in this movie, but also the emotional toll it takes on these people that save the children. And this guy, Tim Ballard, is such a hero. And Jim, his performance is off the charts, but it was real. I mean, you didn't have to do that much acting with that subject matter because it's unbelievable. But two reasons I believe they want to go grassroots with this. And I think that it's our audience and people like us that have been sounding the alarm. And if you recall, about 2 years ago, I guess, I think it was a CNN reporter, like was trying to make fun of Trump and said, these Q people think that you are saving the planet from an international satanic child sex trafficking.
Yeah, in the press conference, I remember.
Right. And he said, is that a bad thing? And she just like was smirked or whatever. And he moved on. Well, yes, he is. And it's not a conspiracy theory, and it's not funny. And shame on the media and the news. And like we talked about when we did one show about this, if you Google how much Trump has done for child sex trafficking, child trafficking, organ trafficking, human trafficking, one after another executive order, we see arrests constantly. This is Donald Trump's mission. His daughter, Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, Mike Pompeo made this a priority. If you Google it, which I don't use Google anymore, thank God, and nobody should, it's like Snopes, Media Matters, Politico, MSNBC, CNN, debunking it, saying it's not true. Well, it's absolutely true. And he's
the first all in president. It, huh, Mel? They are all in it. They are all in it. Of course. That's what it is.
Of course. Yeah. Plus, Hollywood doesn't want this movie out there. It implicates them, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why in a second. But two, a lot of them were visitors to Epstein Island. Okay. A lot of the people that run the studios were there. If they were at Epstein Island, they were at other islands. This is not just Epstein Island. Epstein Island is one piece of this puzzle. Bigger than that even is realizing how it happens. What did we learn from the board? James Alefonis, Rachel Chandler, these people, Epstein, John Luke Burnell, what did they run? Talent and model agencies. where they picked up vulnerable children and promised them fame and fortune, and most of those kids were never seen again. Again, also, what do we know about Haiti? Parents had children disappear, never to be seen again. Okay, and to know that and watch some of the documentaries is one thing, but watching this movie, you're living the pain of the kids, the
Crazy.
pain of Tim Ballard and the people that save them, and the pain of the parents. Very hard to watch, very important to watch. And the good part is it's an excellent film. So you don't even, you're in it when you're watching it. There's no like, and but the in the story, the little girl who's the lead, who is phenomenal. I will never forget this little girl and little boy's faces for the rest of my life. Um, she's a impoverished girl in South America, and one of the countries that were involved in the caravan that we know was way worse than they told us. The kids in cages is a lie. What it was hundreds of thousands of trafficked children and women being abused terribly, and the Democratic Party and liberals, being like, they're keeping them in cages. Well, that's really not what was happening. But Trump tried to eradicate it with the wall and everything, that Biden's undoing now, and it's not curious why. But this girl happened to have an amazing singing voice, and I guess she would sing at like the mall or the fairs. And a very attractive woman came to her house, to find her, knocked on the door, told her about an audition for something like American Idol. And she's so excited, and you heard her sing, so she has talent. And then she wants to talk to the father, a single father. And this is a true story, 100% true. And then she has a little brother who's adorable, and she invites them to audition and has them come and they're poor, and they take a bus, and convinces the father. They take a bus. They go up to the audition. It's on the door, like American Idol type auditions. They open the door. The woman says, "No parents allowed." And you see all these other little kids in there. And she's like, "Come back in a few hours, and then we'll see where we are." He comes back, and they're gone, all of them. And from this moment on, your heart sinks, and you watch the entire thing, where they take these kids, they put them in cargo shipping containers and ship them, like we've learned from connecting the dots, to overseas. And they come out of these shipping containers just a mess days later. It's like, ugh. And then you start to see what happens to them at that point, and it is gut wrenching. And it's all everything that we've seen and discussed. And as it goes on, you can just feel the pain. And this Tim Ballard set up one of these disgusting main big predators, one that's doing a lot of online child porn and stuff, and he busts him and he pretends to be one of them.
Yes, 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 yes.
And this guy offers him a child, and it's the little boy. And then they go, and they set him up, and they arrest him, and they save the kid and the boy, who's so cute. And then you hear that the boy has been trafficked like for 3 months all over the place. This little adorable little boy, and he like bonds with Tim Ballard, Caviezel's character, and tells him about the sister. And he meets the father when the father comes to get the kid, and he feels like he has to find the sister. And from that point on, it's like no holds barred. And the interesting part is they show you how these islands work, because there's a sting in it. And they show you these rich, disgusting men and women, unfortunately, are willing to pay like $100,000 to go to these resort islands or these islands. And traffickers, high-end elite traffickers, will show up on boats with 50, 100 children that are stolen and living in these horrible conditions. And they get them all dressed up, and they bring them to these islands, and these deviant, disgusting people, it's really, it's horrific. And they get this close to seeing it. And the one girl that he needs to save ends up not coming to the sting. And he goes and he gets her when he finds out that she was bought by a really bad guy. which reminds me of when Trump came on the TV and said that there was a girl in Peru that they went to go get. And a lot of people hoped that it was somebody, a girl that was kidnapped in America that disappeared. But whatever the case may be, it really, different than a documentary, it really made you feel like you saw these degenerates and what they did on these islands. And it didn't even go into the satanic part. It didn't have to. You could know in your head, once these guys and once these disgusting people had these kids, it was horrific. And you saw from the beginning of the movie when they're all going to the audition and they're on their best, to when they're rescued, what had happened to them.
You
I
know,
mean,
Mel, you saying all of this, and look, I really know what you're talking about because I know this stuff, okay? Like I've done this research, I know this. Still, I feel like my heart is like out of my chest now.
I know. And I
Because
have to tell you,
I feel like even when you're describing this, I feel it because I know even more than I say in those interviews I have sometimes because I
I
am
know.
very aware how not only people, some people are not able to even process, and other people it's hard to digest.
Right.
And I think that is the main reason why the whiteheads are doing this in such they really really value the readiness of people to
Right.
receive that.
Right. Well, that's what after the movie, everyone in the whole place is crying,
Yeah,
but you're still happy because that they do get
yeah,
she the girl does get reunited. It's a true story with her father and her brother. And I mean the acting is off the charts superb. And but and then Jim Caviezel went up and spoke about it, this 2-year, journey he's been on to make this movie, and how, and he just said, and they say it in the movie, God's children are not for sale. And too many people don't want to talk about it. And at the end, they had a nice tribute to Tim Ballard and his wife and kids. And, he's adopted
he
kids. So
adopted,
has,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
has Caviezel. So unwanted kids, that were damaged. And, and he really talked about the fear that if they went normal routes of distribution in Hollywood, that this would be shelved, and that it might never see the mass amount of people. I also got something else out of it in between the lines of similar to what you're talking about, which is I think the more people that see this movie prior to the revelations that these men, I feel 100% sure that we will see justice
yeah,
after listening to them speak.
yeah,
But I think it would be a lot easier for people to um, acknowledge the truth
yeah,
about this,
yes,
and it's $150 billion business. It has
yes,
replaced oil, drugs, and guns in terms of elite trafficking. It also had the whole part about the shipping, the evergreen shipping. We all got nailed for Wayfair or whatever. And no, they shipped these kids in containers like that. And
yeah.
it showed it. And just the callousness of
Mel,
these traffickers,
you
and then the amount
Mel,
of money
you
involved.
remember this video Avicii did?
Oh yeah, I do. Well, look at what happened. Yeah.
That was,
And
I
all
watched that clip and I was like, it was called For a Better Day, I think.
yeah, I remember.
And
Yeah.
when I saw this, I literally felt chills because that video was,
Right. Yeah. And these guys took a big risk because just connecting it to the talent and modeling predatory
yeah,
situation, parents got to know, no matter how much your kid wants that, you know, it's not what it seems. That's not really how it works. And just thinking that that's going on all over the world, and we know it from Elefantis's Instagram and Rachel Chandler's modeling agency, and they really show it. And you fall in love with these kids and all these people. The father, I mean, you feel it. And I think that their point is the more people that see this before the justice phase, the better, because a lot of people are going to have problems with the people, the elite that are involved, from Hollywood to sports to DC to the royals, governments all over the world, billionaires that we all are told are great guys. A lot of these humanitarian agencies that really are trafficking children, but pretend that they're helping. The UN, all these peacekeepers that always end up in these situations. I just think that end up watching when that movie finishes, you feel like you need to do something. It's 800,000 kids are reported missing in America a year, 1.2 million worldwide, and that's all we know. Most of these countries you don't even know, and they ship them all over the world, and these are commodities. And he made a horrible point in his speech, but it's true. The reason child sex trafficking and human trafficking in general has replaced oil and drugs and guns is because you can sell that stuff once. You can sell a kid 10,000 times, and it's happening.
But
And then,
Mel, you know what? There is and thank you so much for sharing this. I literally feel like I have to stabilize myself right now.
no, you do. I'm telling you.
Um,
I'm still not stable since I saw it. And I'll tell
no,
you what.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, listen, but here is so I want to briefly touch on this. It's not just about abusing sexually. We are talking here about, and I mentioned this a while ago, about Brain Initiative, which
Right.
Obama started, okay?
Right.
That was strictly designed to experiment on people without their
Right.
permission, being alive. So the human is alive and they are experimenting on their brain, on their body, doing things.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
the massive percentage of this trafficking actually
Yeah.
goes for those purposes. And
Right.
there's another side to it, is also the how to say this, not good extraterrestrials that do exist.
No, you mean transhumanism, but
Trans-
also you mean adrenochrome.
I mean this, but I also mean the reptilians and other beings that are coexisting on this planet, and this is not BS. That's why this is spiritual, and there is a war that is actually happening in a completely different dimension, not visible to the human eye, because
Right.
there are certain types of warriors, like
Right.
remote viewers or shamans, that
Right.
can enter that realm and they can fight that fight on that realm. So
Right.
this is so multi-layered. It's so
Right.
multi-layered that
Right.
many people are not able to even accept the fact that there is another creature like this living, who is actually using humans as a form of food and energy.
Right. Exactly. And also, don't forget, they're also organ harvesting
Yes,
out of these children.
yes.
They're also, like you said, with Operation Paperclip and Mengele and all the guys, all the demons from the concentration camps that started a lot of these experiments. They've never stopped. Many people say that Epstein Island, not Epstein Island, Epstein's Ranch in New Mexico was one of those places where they were experimenting, like you said, on brains, on transhumanisms, on implanting, and then getting the MK Ultra to the next level. Also, what's coming out of our screen, what's coming out, in kids' games and this teaching, like it's not just sex trafficking,
No, it's not.
exactly.
Yeah.
But also another thing that you see in there is when they do go into the jungle, they're all slaves picking their, the crops and stuff. These aren't free people. Just like, last week when Biden made the excuse saying that it's normal, cultural in China to have concentration camps with slave labor, which I couldn't believe. But again, we are watching a movie. But you see that. But also don't forget, there's also children warriors. These,
Correct. Like in Rwanda, I remember,
right?
like grabbing.
Somalia, all over.
Yes, yes, yes. Like
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
years old, like massive, like
Oh
totally
yeah.
brainwashed.
Oh, totally, totally. Trained to kill, trained to
Yes.
kill, and they have no choice. And the numbers are staggering. But I will tell you, these people are fighting the battle on the front lines. And what our job is, and our viewers, is to not only see this movie, but make sure other people see it. this is a different level of than a documentary.
Yeah.
This is not that. You are in it.
So
And this director is off the charts because and Caviezel's acting is ridiculous. The kids are amazing. The
but
father,
Mel, what they
everyone.
gonna
Like,
do? Tell me. Are they gonna release it? What is the plan? Did they share with you guys? Like
well,
how?
this is part of it. This is part of it. I think they're feeling that if they go the traditional route, not that they can't. He's a giant movie star. The movie's amazing. It's just they don't want it to get buried. And I think they need people like us to get the word out. And maybe I know you saw Out of Shadows, but maybe a similar thing to that. But I think they're releasing it. They're doing this right now on purpose. This timing, because you can't unsee this, and you really you can't deny that it's happening. And I got a glimpse in the parts that are on this exclusive island. I really got a deep glimpse of how evil the people that participated in Epstein Island and all these other islands are. I mean, it's just good versus evil. And we have to be brave enough to look at the dark. And we were always told, me and you especially, that it was that no matter what, we had to keep going. And we told each other, because we're not doing this for ourselves. And that on the other side of the reveal, in the dark to light, there's going to be millions of people, first of all, or who went on with their lives and are going to be triggered by the revelations we're going to see. Second, there's going to be a ton of the breakout of the cognitive dissidence.
Oh yeah, huge.
Also, he talked about, yeah, we all talked about the gaslighting, the brainwashing, but also what the media has done to cover this all up. And also bigger than that, as we've discussed, why Donald Trump ran in the first place. That there is an international alliance that are aligned and working together to close these ports, to get them out of here, to end this human trafficking nightmare, and to open eyes. And it's something people don't want to visit. And I know for you and for me as well, the research has been really eye-opening and heartbreaking and all of that, but most people don't even want to acknowledge that
No.
it's even possible.
No.
And this, and
But that's
I
why
really,
I wonder, Mel, that's why I wonder how they're gonna roll this out. And
well, I think that they're looking at different options, but what I'm seeing is they want the people that were there and that are invested in the movement and that are fighting good versus evil and God, and that believe that this is a true spiritual battle we are in, and that these are God's children, and these demons and these elite billionaire playing God, New World Order, whatever they are, that they need to be eradicated. This isn't something we
yes,
can't do what we did. We can't do what we did with Operation Paperclip and let them rebrand as something else and keep going.
but
This
this
can't
is not,
happen.
Mel, this is deeper. This is not just those billionaires. They represent like the top of the layer, the top layer. I'm telling you, literally, this is lower. The this is on the different dimension. That's why they are fighting like this. Can you hear me? Because the internet froze.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You froze for a second. But
And now for those who have completely no idea, for them it will be enough just to wake up to the fact that maybe few icons are not really those icons, and that's it. But if you go deeper, you will see that yes, because truly, and I am absolutely certain that this is going to be totally transformed, because this is on a different, this is Galactic Federation. We are talking
right,
many things here,
right,
right?
right. And we talked about that the one thing that would bring us all together are the children.
Yes.
And a lot of people that weren't involved, or that, think about the attacks on this Q board that doesn't change, and only 10 people on the planet really know who's behind it and anything. And then they make up all this stuff that there's a group, there's not. I don't even look at the boards, none of that. But look at what information we've got. And the information is true, especially pertaining to this. And the Epstein case and a lot of these other cases, they're still out there. And one thing I do not believe is that this can ever be swept under the
No,
rug, and we
no,
can't
no,
let it happen.
no.
And that is very important. And no, what I see these guys saying is they want it to be grassroots because the media and Hollywood will do everything they can to this movie does not see the light of day. And it's too important, and we need to spread it to our people and the people that watch us and within our group, and they're ready, strategically timed for what is coming ahead. I also was very I've heard a lot of major Charlie and Simon, but also on Juan. I will tell you right now, he's not only a good man, but he's fighting for God and country and these children, and it matters. And we are surrounded by really good people, and that's why we were there. And I have to tell you, this is the kind of movie. This is why I went into movies. This is why you went into writing, because you thought that story can transform, and film or novels, they have power,
They move you.
and
They
that's
move
been
you.
sucked out by Hollywood. And yeah, Hollywood, the publishing industry, all of it. And then all the Satanists that are involved and made deals with devils to push the agenda with the pedophiles and the transgender and the whatever it is, the division, the hatred, the anti-freedom, the turning around, like what really happened in history. Well, this movie is the kind of project you and I actually set out to make before we realized, if we didn't deal with the devil, that there was a ceiling. Well, these guys, they made it outside of the system. The system would never have made this movie in a million years.
Well, the
And they don't
internet,
want to
sorry,
play their way. And I think that they are looking at
sorry,
real human and know that this also, the entire, like, last year of our lives, but the entire Trump presidency, this man has been fighting for not just the people of America and the world, but a battle against true evil on many levels. And he's not alone. Putin's involved, Modi's involved, G's involved. A lot of people are involved that right now we don't see. And it is coming. But like you said, I think I told you last week that I saw that guy online down the street, and he told me that he was freaking out. And I was like, what's wrong? And he said, they're trafficking kids out of my building on 46th Street. And I was like, no. And because I do this, I was like, what? And he told me, he said, somebody bought the building during COVID, and now there's girls all over, and men come, and he's like, and they're not girls. I mean, he said, they're not adults, they're children. And this is in Manhattan. Well, this is happening all over this country, all over the world. And apparently it's gotten far worse during COVID, during the lockdowns. People are isolated. People can sneak around. Also, the online, how they do it online, and the predators and all of this stuff. This lockdown has been so detrimental to children in general, let alone these children. And what about these faux teachers? People don't realize that about 20 years ago, there was a big push to hire anyone, whether they were qualified or not, to teach either English as a second language or to teach in inner city schools, because they didn't have enough teachers. But in retrospect, I don't think that that's really what those programs were about. And a lot of them did groups. And I think that they were training these, what we find now, teachers that are pressing this Marxist separation, socialist agenda, this hatred of others, this victimization, this equity rather than equality nonsense, this like mediocre, you don't have to be smart, just be a follower stuff to our children that are infecting their minds. This was planned. And I say, any teacher who doesn't want to go back to school should be fired. And there's millions of people out there, probably including me and you, that would happily take their place to help these children. We also can't forget that during the lockdowns, there's probably millions of children that are locked up with their abusers.
Yes. Yeah.
And also being trafficked during this without all the PD ever. And when this guy in New York City on 46 went and reported it to the NYPD, they said there was nothing they could do.
Because they are probably, they probably
and that's
are
how
involved
it.
Sorry, the internet is bad. Mel, probably because the you
No,
know,
I know.
it's all involved in this. Oh my gosh. I have to tell you, I feel
Right, right, right. Well, yeah. Well, of the kids that disappear in America, a large percentage of them are taken by CPS from not bad parents under false pretenses and never returned, or parents that go to jail and they place them. And, and I told people don't understand that Putin stopped allowing Russian children to be adopted in America because he said that they were all being funneled into sex trafficking. And everyone thought, oh, he's crazy. Or when he told the UN that the New World Order are Satanists and well, the only person that seems to be fighting right now openly is the guy in Poland, Putin, and a couple other world leaders saying, what is going on in America? This can't happen. And I have to be honest, it's like everything that everyone that we were told was good,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it's upside down. And but when it comes to the children, there's really no other side to it. And I
Because
was
they
so
cannot
impressed.
fight for themselves. That's the thing. It's like they cannot, what they can do. They are completely like powerless. That's the whole
That's
point.
what he was saying, and that was really shown. That was really shown in this movie. And when Jim was talking about it, that's what he was saying, was like kids' brains really don't develop even until they're in their 20s. What are they doing to these children? And then you and I talk to and know about SRA survivors where they break them really young, and they never recover. That's the other thing that he did talk about, and I talked about last night on something else, which is all this money that they're allocating, which isn't going to save our country from the COVID disaster. It's going to, US aid, which is, and the Paris Climate Accords. These are money laundering, slush funds, whatever. We need hospitals and long-term care facilities for these children. They need a couple of years of therapy and the PTSD, the fear, the self
Yeah.
loathing. A lot of these kids, if they make it out alive,
Yeah.
end up being drug addicts or suicidal because they can't deal
But
with
Mel,
it.
those devices, those actually, this is given, and it sounds like people like still don't really accept. Yes, this is actually from the Galactic Federation, the medbeds.
Right, right. No, I agree with that. Oh yeah, for
This will
sure.
help because this is also to heal the nervous system and the emotional body.
Right,
So it's on the frequency level.
right. And we need people to understand that this is going on, and good people out there to start, because there's not even that much training to help these children once they are rescued. And and there's certainly not funding. They decimated our from the Clintons on, they decimated, well, actually it happened during late Reagan and really Bush. They decimated the mental health system in this country. It's a disaster. They haven't put 1 cent during this whole COVID into the homeless community or the,
Yes, yes,
where
exactly.
what an opportunity when we were all locked down to address it, to go to do outreach, to
Yes, and
get
then
these
now
homeless
what you
people
see,
off the street,
what you see,
into rehab, into
yeah,
hospitals.
only
And
homeless
we
doesn't
need these
work.
facilities rebuilt, right? And it's only gotten far worse. And now we're seeing more children homeless than I've ever seen in my life in New York. And nobody's doing anything, and de Blasio and Cuomo, they keep throwing money at different stuff. And it's not getting better on the streets here, or any streets. They got rid of the cops. It's all part of their plan. But like, hello, this needs to be reversed. We need more mental health facilities. We need more care facilities for, especially, there's not that many for children. There's not. And
And you know what? You know what? This is exactly what I have to talk to, and we will talk about this and maybe with David too. Because
oh yes, for sure.
okay, so here is the thing. I think that it's not just those people who absolutely suffered through this last year of those lockdowns. That is a mental health. Somehow, in spite of my depressions through many years, I was able to, God sent me this creation. Like I think
Right.
that channel and interacting like this and another book saved me in a way. But there are people who are really mentally affected. That's one group. There is another group that will be soon when they will hear all of this and they will get so depressed and so shocked. I don't know if you can hear me because internet is really horrible today. Can you hear me? Mel?
Right.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry, it's this internet is. So the second group is those.
Yeah, I hear you on and off, but you're back now.
Thank you. This group of
Yeah, you're
people
back.
who will be
Wait,
absolutely
now you're stopped.
in shock, you know, when this comes out.
Give it 1 sec and then go back. Okay, the second group, that's where you stopped.
Yeah, so I don't know, I can hear you, but it's like froze. So the first group is lockdown people, or like, you know, homicides and stuff. But the group of people who now will receive the information
Mm-hmm.
and they will not be able to process it and they will become. Okay, Mel.
Oh, you're back. Hi, you're back.
Okay, no, seriously, you know something happened? The whole conversation just disappeared.
I think the recording went, but then it popped back on. I think we're back recording again. You're gone again.
I cannot.
This is what we're dealing with right now.
Okay, so you're not even moving.
The truth has become, telling the truth about hard topics has become a crime. And we're being monitored. Okay, I think you're back.
I don't know what to say now, and I don't know what to do, because literally what happened for the first time, the whole thing disappeared, and then you like almost like it was disconnected, and now it's connected again.
Right, I saw it happen too on my side. You were talking about the second group and it just went off. It said this recording stopped, and then it said this recording's continuing.
You know what?
And you're out there in California. I don't even know. They're monitoring all of us, but you know, right now, I guess it's they don't want that. And they are the tech overlords.
So I will try to find this recording because it was very important conversation. Mel.
I know. Well, we'll do it again if we have to. It's too important not to, and you have a lot of insight. And but it's not. Don't think it's an accident. And please don't forget, we are being censored by Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok. And guess where a lot of the child trafficking and porn is? On all of those platforms, and they are doing nothing about it. Nothing. And if people think they are, they're wrong, because all you need to know is where to go. And these tech companies could help, and they could, who do you think runs the dark web? The same tech companies. They could easily pinpoint these people. It's not that hard. They're not doing it. Okay. They're involved. So I'm not surprised that this subject matter is being monitored. Also, don't forget, Zoom is a Chinese CCP company. And you know, we are being monitored, and if people don't believe it, then they don't have to. But they're censoring anyone talking about pedophilia, child trafficking, anything having to do with COVID that isn't agreed upon by the UN and the One World Government and the World Economic Forum. And you know what? This is the battle that we're in right now, and they should be ashamed of themselves, but sadly they're not. And the same thing with the media. You know, all this is out there. Hollywood, all this is out there, and they're complicit. So
you know what?
we got to keep fighting against it.
I will try to think if you come any idea like what is the other way to record when we talk.
Because right, I'm that's another thing that was good about this weekend is we met with a lot of people that are looking at different options and different platforms, and some of them are clunky. I'm fine with BitChute. My only issue is that you can't block trolls, and I get attacked on there to such a degree that I can't even look at my comments. And it's vile stuff. I mean,
Yes.
if you want to see anti-Semitism, go look at my
But
comments on.
I cannot even download there. Like my videos are not downloading at all. Like
I know.
they are not showing at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And there's other platforms, but you know what? I'm going to put together, I already told everyone at the event that I'm going to put together a list of alternative places that we can go and all of that. But I also want people to know, and you to know, that the lie of YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Google is that actually our taxpayer dollars paid to create these things at DARPA. And we were lied to about the stories and the background of these corporations. They actually were paid for. All of Facebook, which was LifeLog, which was a project in DARPA, was paid for by taxpayer dollars. And it should go back to the taxpayers in terms of, that these people have violated the right to run these companies on every level.